The M-48 personal mixer receives up to 40 audio sources, but mixing 40 audio sources while on stage could be overwhelming or too complex for the performer. So the 40 audio sources can be combined into stereo groups for more convenient control. Up to 16 stereo groups are available for mixing on the M-48. In this example of a jazz quartet, we're taking 11 sources, that's 9 from the stage and the main stereo mix, and sending them to 5 stereo groups. So 11 sources can be easily mixed using only 5 groups on the M-48. Each musician can have their own set of personalized group assignments. Let's look at what the drummer might like to control. The drummer chooses to have separate control over each drum mic, except the 2 overhead mics, which are on one group, panned to the left and right. The piano player might choose this assignment. He gets his 2 piano mics panned in stereo onto group 1. Doesn't everyone like to have themselves on the first knob? Then the other band members are placed into one group per player, except that the piano player wants the hi-hat independent of the rest of the drum kit. So in these examples, the whole band is sharing the same set of input sources, but how they are grouped for control is completely personalized for each band member. There are 16 stereo groups in each M-48, controlled by 8 knobs in 2 layers. Here with this button selected, I have groups 1 to 8, and here I have groups 9 to 16. With the ability to assign sources to any of the 16 groups, each M-48 can be custom configured from this simple setup, a me and everything else kind of mixer using only 2 groups, to this more complex setup using all 16 groups, or anything in between. So how do we set up all these groups? The M-400 has access to every M-48 in the system to configure group assignments and every other aspect of each personal mixer. Let's take a few minutes to look at how the M-400 operator has control. The M-400 can see every M-48 in the system. Each unit can be named for easy identification. The M-400 output patch bay controls which 40 audio signals are sent to the personal mixing system. Available outputs include the main outputs, auxiliary outputs, matrix outputs, recorder monitor outputs, direct outputs of any channel, talkback, and oscillator. On the source assign screen of the M-400, we can see each of the 40 sources we've selected in the output patch bay for the React B bus. We can assign each of these sources to any of the 16 groups in the M-48. So using the drummer example we showed a minute ago, we can see each source assigned to a group. Note the 2 overhead mics assigned to the one group, and 2 piano mics assigned to one group. Here's the same screen for the vocalist's simple configuration. When several sources are assigned to one group, the sound operator maintains control of the relative mix of those sources. Here's the screen where you can set the overall level of each source. You can also set the pan position where the source will sit in that stereo group. In fact, the M-400 can show all the settings of each M-48 in the system. The sound operator can see what each user is doing and help troubleshoot for new users or take complete control if necessary. For example, when working with a guest artist who's never used an M-48 before. The M-400 has access to scene memories in each M-48 and also has its own library of M-48 scenes. This allows the system operator to send preset configurations into any M-48 to help any user who's lost their mix. The M-400 can store scenes for every user and recall any setup at a later date. In a more complex application with highly programmed shows, the M-400 can recall scenes from each M-48 as M-400 scenes are recalled. With the RSS personal mixing system, the sound operator can decide how much monitoring control to give over to each onstage performer. Even when the performer is given detailed control, the sound operator has the ability to jump in and control any function on any M-48 personal mixer. The sound operator retains control when necessary at the front of house or monitor mix position. When the RSS personal mixing system is not used with a V-mixing system, the sound operator still has the same control over the personal monitoring system. The S4000 RCS software runs on a standard PC connected to the RS-232 port on the audio input box. Here in the software, you can see the source to group assignment screen. In this screen, you can see the M-48 source, level, and pan. So whether you use the RSS personal mixing system fully integrated with the V-mixing system and M-400, or with another console, the sound operator has deep level access to all functions from one central location.